So, last but not least, we have this little pod here. I mentioned using the Korg SQ1 as two channels of pitched CV control. Well, I built this because I wanted to see if I could make a little modular single voice synth. It only has 4 slots for power, and I've used 2 passive modules here and here, the same as the ones we saw before in the other system. So let's look at this tiny little guy here. In its main configuration, this can be an oscillator, and the oscillator output would go into this filter, which is the Polyvox filter from Harvest Man. It's labeled in Russian, but it's really quite simple to use. It only has a few controls. In fact, it's a low-pass and band-pass filter. The one in the big system is only low-pass, so when all the gear is running together, this guy has a lot of work to do. He's often in use as band-pass or low-pass. And this absolutely sounds awesome. It does not sound like a Moog filter at all, but it sounds rad in both low-pass and band-pass mode. So you have your VCO, you have your VCF, and then we have these 3 low-pass gates functioning as something like a VCA. So basically you make the sound here, you filter it, and then you trigger these 3 voices, which again are passive, before you send it to the output, which is here. What's this guy doing? In this main setup that I just described, his main job would be to be an LFO. So he could wobble the pulse width modulation of the oscillator, or he could modulate the filter cutoff to make the sound we all know and expect. And finally, with this guy here with some ins and outs, we can send the various CVs here to be mixed or processed for use in other parts of the system. Also, as you can see from the flashing bits, his job would also be to be the gate. How are we going to open these 3 low-pass gates? Well, they're going to have to be triggered by these. Every time these lights flash, a gate is triggered. If we have the SQ1, it can do that job, but if we're talking about this guy all by itself, we need the Wogglebugs functionality of gate output to trigger these and send their voice to this output mixer. But what if we do a different configuration? It's modular after all, we should have some options. Well, this guy has audio rate outputs here and here. He makes 2 different square waves, which would be pitched but not really controllable. Then you could switch this guy from oscillator duty to LFO duty by flicking this knob. And then as you can see, the light is flashing much more slowly because he's now an LFO. And you could send the outputs from, as I said, here and here, or is it here? The 2 square waves into the filter and into the gate, or one of them into the filter and the other directly into the gate. You can also use this, what looks like an exploding output, is a ring modulated output of the 2 square waves. So you can actually generate 3 voices, you can process them with the LFO. You could even use the LFO as a square wave mode to clock this guy, and then you could have 3 randomly pitched sounds coming out of here and being sent to the output. This is Rosie, my second output. I really like this one because it allows you to put a pair of headphones on and you can build a whole patch in one channel and have your live audience hearing that, or your recording. And then you can fade to another channel. So while if this channel is being sent to everyone, the other channel, when this is fully right, is being sent only to your headphones like a DJ mixer. So you could prepare another loop on another part of your system, and when the first one becomes boring, you could switch to the second one, and then you could unpatch these bits and make a new one, and switch back to another new one. And you would be able to, pre-monitor all that through your headphones without people hearing you make annoying sounds until you were ready. So when the whole system is running all together, we can actually have 2 different outputs. You would need a mixer before you went to your sound source. Usually I just pick one of these outputs after going through the mixer, and then go into my digital recorder here. And I also use this little orange amp as my auditioning amp in real time if I don't want to put the headphones on. But I'd probably put them on before I made a final mix down. So that's the system here as it is. Of course, there's also another rack about this size full of tube modules from Erica Synths. I love that and I use it, but I often use this configuration as you see it here. Either these three or adding this fourth guy is usually enough to do everything I need to do. So that's the fourth and final video in the Father Moo modular overview. Cheers.